Frustrated, intoxicated, I know I'm losing myself. I can't take it anymore.
But I'm not done. I'm not done. I won't give up until the end.
But I won't fall. I'll stand awake to know it's not over, even if I'm closer to the edge. It's like a noise that intensifies, like a wave I'm riding from.
Well, that was Baruch in a 20-minute steel path survival, and honestly, we just could have kept going, but yeah. What an amazing frame. Hello, everyone. Hi. How are you doing? I hope you are fine. Today is the day where we finally talk about Baruch. So yeah, right. I went through like 5 different iterations of the build, and I've tried to keep this extremely budget friendly-ish. I made a mistake with my Nikana. I meant to be using normal pressure point in here, but it doesn't matter too much. But yeah, we will start out with Baruch's passive, because I think this is the one thing that is the most confusing to people, but it also allows you to do different builds. So let's go over it, right? So each projectile dodged, each enemy lulled or disarmed, erodes Baruch's restraint and fuels the storm within. Basically that means whenever you dodge with your 1, which is in our case a 180-degree thing in front of us, which drains a whole bunch of energy, so I'm not using this. Our lull, whenever we put an enemy to sleep, right? Actually, yeah, each enemy you lull, which in the radius of 25 meters, in Steel Path, that's a lot of enemies, right? Desolate Hands is the other one. This will disarm enemies with the knives around you. So that is how you are able, to get your 4 going. As you can see, your 4 doesn't need energy. Instead, it works off this restraint meter that you can see over the ammo counter of the Epitaph. So, at the start of a mission, you cannot activate this, right? So what you want to do is go on your enemies with your 2 and your 3, and as you can see, my restraint is going down. Here again. And the 2 as well. Recast our 3, and now we can activate it, and we can start going in, right? So that's basically how you deal with the restraint meter. You want to cast your 2 often, you want to have your 3 active at all times to get some disarms going. That is the whole shebang, and once you build up combo, you will be able to red crit with Baruch, because we are using a couple of mods to set this up, right? So, that is how you deal with the restraint meter. Basically, cast your 2 often and have your 3 active at all times. Now, that means we need to spam an ability a lot, and if you take a look at your 2, oh no, it doesn't show it here. But you cannot affect an enemy with lull until his sleep duration is basically up. So those 2.5 seconds matter a lot, because after that you can recast the ability and get the same enemy a second time, right? So, what makes this build work? First and foremost, the build on Baruch itself. Yes, I'm using Energize. Yes, I'm using Fury. Both of these things are not needed, but I had them around, so I am using them. Right? Good. Moving on. Corrosive Protection as the aura. I found this to be very helpful because I was testing this build mainly in Grineer Survival, which is on Setna, the Selkie mission, the highest available mission for me at the moment in the Steel Path, which is a survival. So Corrosive Protection comes in very handy, but you can go into your dash polarity, type in aura, and like use something like enemy radar, energy siphon, whatever you prefer, right? Good. The one thing that makes this build click is Reactive Storm. This is his augment, and you get 250% status chance on your 4. And it changes the damage of your 4 to the type that matches the enemy weaknesses. So you see a lot of radiation pop-ups or corrosive pop-ups. You will see what element is hitting, and that means we don't need to mod for an element on our 4, which is quite nice, right? I obviously can mod it for viral. That can be a thing. I ran it that way, and I ran it without any elements on my 4, and honestly, it doesn't really matter. I like this setup better now, but the other one is fun as well. So that is build enabler number 1. Build enabler number 2 is strength. So we have transient fortitude, ogre secrets, and power drift to lift us to 194% strength. That allows our 3 to have 15 knives. Our damage reduction goes up to 90. The way this works is as follows. Every knife that floats around you gives you 10% damage reduction up to 90%, and every knife after that, so 10, 11, 12, they don't give you more DR, but they act as a nice buffer, so you can disarm enemies around you without losing the 90% DR. So you need to recast this less often, and that really, really helps, right? That safety buffer is something that I felt was a huge quality of life thing while playing through Steel Path Survival. And the strength also helps with the status chance on Reactive Storm, as well as damage reduction that you gain. Basically, the lower your restraint meter is, the closer you will get to the 40% DR from your 4, which means you need less knives around you, right? So there is quite a synergetic thing going on with the whole of Baruch's kit, actually. Yes, we are completely disregarding a loot for this build. Why do I do that? I wanted to see what I can do with the Helminth system, stuff like that. But before I went into that, I was like, no, we will do a 0 Forma build that can do the Steel Path. Right, so strength, a lot of it, right? Fleeting expertise to tank duration in combination with transient fortitude. That tanks the duration to 13%, right? Which allows us to affect enemies after 2.5 seconds again and again and again, right? We just need to make that timer happen. It also shortens your cast duration. Not cast duration, but like the duration it takes for them to fall asleep, which is quite nice. Yeah. Here you can also go for Streamline. If you go for Streamline instead of Flow, your 1 will become way better to use. As you can see, 4.38 drain per second with Streamline. This is actually 2. So that makes a whole bunch of a difference, right? I just found it very useful to have Flow, to have some energy banked up, especially if you're using Energizing Wellspring now from Zeneric, right? This just helps you store up some energy, which makes it easier to cast your 2, your 3, just to be on the safe side, right? And as I said, I didn't want to use a Helminth ability, which is why we have a loot on here, but I don't recommend using this too much. You can throw it in if you struggle to keep the restraint meter down. Definitely activate this and don't attack for like 5 or 6 seconds and then deactivate it again, and you will have enough restraint cooldown basically to go with your 4. Right. Last but not least, yes, 90% damage reduction is nice, but also we have adaptation on here, which gives us further DR against the damage that is hitting us. That is really nice. And vitality to give us a little bit more health to work with. As you saw in... Oh no, I don't think I showed much of it. Yeah, I think I just made a short clip. But during the survival, I barely fell under the 555 health. And that is because on Desert Wind, we are actually using Healing Return here. So, why are we doing this? As you can see, 4 health per status type affecting the target. If you don't kill a target on your first hit, you will inflict basically the status with the element they are weak to, so we will have an irradiation proc on them. So that will restore 4 health per enemy per status type, right? If you fire into a hallway and let's say 20 enemies are still alive, yeah, you heal back up very, very quickly. Now, I have Drifting Contact in here. This is only so if you don't have farmed up the secondary and primary arcane for combo duration. This will make your life easier. If you don't want to use this, you can go for a better healing return or replace this slot entirely with something that you think is very, very nice. I had the arcanes and still left it in because it's quite enjoyable. And as I said, healing return, we have an epitaph with us, so we can prime enemies, which I did from time to time to just heal up very fast against the acolyte, stuff like that, right? Yeah, but other than that, we have regular pressure point. That I was using this in the mission. I will switch this now out for prime pressure point, of course, because it fits, which is nice. Yeah, pressure point is what you want to have, or prime pressure point if you have it, obviously. True Steel and Organ Shatter for crit damage and crit chance and crit damage. Very good. Primed Reach. This is only here to help us with combo. So if we take a quick look, I guess I have to spawn in a couple of enemies again. Let's just get 4 bombards really quickly. I just want to show you this because I think it's quite important. Let's also grab a little bit of energy. Okay, so while your 4 is active, and you hit them from a distance, your combo counter does not go up. You have to get in close. There we go. 3x combo, right? But it's not always easy to get very close to your enemies, right? Before they die. So this is why I went for Primed Reach. If you take this away, you can see it does affect the range of your... It says of your melee attack, right? But basically your fists have to hit and not the energy wave from the fists. I hope that makes sense. So that's why Primed Reach is on here. I went for Quickening to help with A, attack speed, and B, getting the additional 20% combo count chance really helps to build up that 12x multiplier really fast. And Berserker Fury on kill, we get attack speed 70%. You have this active basically all the time, right? So there is one more thing to make everything you saw here click, and that is a stat stick. Not really a stat stick. Basically all you definitely want to have on here are the 3 Gladiator mods. So Gladiator Might for crit damage, Gladiator Vice for attack speed, Gladiator Rush is the 6-second combo duration one, but all 3 together give you 30% crit chance per combo multi. That will be factoring into what you are doing with your 4, right? So you have the 12x combo here, and you will benefit from the Gladiator mods on this melee. Now, obviously, I will be able to do stuff like this, but it's not really needed. Also, I have this on just to have a reliable reliable melee weapon, on the side as well. And even with this build, the Nikana Prime can still do work, but as I said, just have the Gladiator mods on and you will be pretty good to go. As I said, I have the Epitaph on me with a little bit of a primer setup, modded for viral and heat, a little bit of status duration, and that will proc heat, blast, and viral on the quick shot radial attack, which is very good. Also worth noting, when you are inside your 4, you will still be able to use your secondary and primary weapons. So while your 4 is active, you are able to just quick fire the Epitaph. Oops, that's the Nataruk. You're still able to dish this out, right? And as you can see, there's a lot of procs on the enemy, and yeah, the Nikana makes quick work of stuff like that. But just having a Guandao Prime or something on the way as well, or any decent melee, will do you just fine. But yeah, very important. If you want to see red crits, you need those 3 Gladiator mods on your melee. It works. You saw red crits. And as you saw there, the augment is absolutely blasting those enemies. It's really fun and a good time. Keep in mind, I was using different setups while testing, as I said. Also a 360-degree elude setup, which I just wanted to check out to see how this works. I was testing around with different amounts of duration, efficiency, stuff like that. And I really found to be, around 179, 180% strength is very nice. So you get the 14 knives, which enables that quick buffer in the floating knives around you for your damage reduction, right? Yeah, that's pretty much everything. I would suggest, if you have the augment, build for the augment. It is worth it. As you saw in the clip in the beginning, that was a 20-minute survival, and I had absolutely no trouble keeping my restraint meter going, so I was able to stay in my 4 all the time, had my knives up, was able to cast my lull to keep the restraint meter down. Very synergetic playstyle. You need to be on your toes, you need to be a bit more focused than with other frames, which is why I do actually enjoy Baruch quite a lot. Yes, the fashion is absolutely tragic. I know I didn't have enough time to see which colors really fit him, so I just went for the white and red and a little bit of black. But yeah, that concludes everything Baruch. I hope you have enjoyed this Zero Forma build on Baruch itself and on his Desert Wind as well. Yeah, very, very nice. I enjoyed it. I hope you have too. This is it for today. Thank you so much for watching. And as always, take care. Bye.